Consider the cold, heavy copper rod resting in your palm. It appears utterly motionless, yet it hides a chaotic, invisible storm governed by one absolute law. This rule is so deceptively basic that it constructs the entire physical realm. Identical charges push away, while opposites pull together. From this solitary, haunting principle, we can decode the entire electrical landscape and witness a brand new reality. Let's examine the chaos. Inside that metal, atoms aren't static spheres, they resemble packed ballrooms. Deep inside, protons cluster tightly. Far away, electrons circle in massive orbits relative to their size. We define the protons as positive, the electrons are negative, and they follow that rigid social etiquette. A proton and electron crave union, yet two similar particles will shove each other away with terrifying intensity. Now here is the primary enigma. No scientist understands what charge actually is. We merely observe its consequences. We've invented labels like polarity and attraction to describe the behavior, but the inner essence of being charged remains a locked vault. It is a fundamental axiom of our universe. Back to our ballroom. In substances like glass or plastic, every electron is a prisoner, chained to its specific atomic cluster. They are like guests bolted to their floorboards. They might vibrate, but they cannot migrate. These are insulators, vaults for trapped energy. However, in a copper vein, the atmosphere shifts. The outer electrons are nomads. They aren't tethered to any single home. They wander freely across the metallic terrain. These are our conductors, because they harbor a vast ocean of these unattached travelers. When you shield copper with rubber, you are building a corridor for nomads bordered by walls of captives. The energy flows through the center but cannot leak out. That is the ingenious secret behind every power cord in your home. To turn this chaos into a stream, these wandering electrons require a motivation. They need a shove. Imagine a flat pipe packed with water. The liquid stays still, but if you tilt the pipe, gravity forces a flow. That pressure shift is the physical twin of voltage. Voltage is essentially electrical incline. A battery generates this tilt through a clever trick. It employs chemistry to warehouse electrons. It packs them tightly at the negative post, creating a crowd, while draining them from the positive post, creating a vacuum. This generates a desperate tension to find balance. Electricity is just the universe trying to settle a cosmic debt. Attach a path, and the crowded particles sprint toward the empty space. That unified sprint is what we call current, though the journey is violent. As they drift, electrons smash into the fixed atomic lattice. Every crash releases energy, forcing the atoms to shake. What do we call that internal shaking? Heat. This is resistance, the physical friction of a microscopic sea moving through a solid grid. Thin wires resist more than thick ones, much like trying to force air through a tiny needle. Now imagine using a material designed to be stubborn, like the filament inside a vintage bulb. When you jam current through it, the collisions become so fierce the atoms don't just shake, they ignite with white radiance. A light bulb is simply a wire failing at its task with spectacular brilliance. This brings us to a deep truth. We view electricity as a modern human toy. It isn't. Every chemical reaction is electrical. When atoms link into molecules, they perform a precise ballet of sharing governed by attraction. When fire consumes wood, electrons are just finding more comfortable seating. When your heart beats, a surge of electrical tension is sprinting through your biological circuitry. Life is a persistent electrical event. We are breathing, thinking sculptures of balanced charge, and we title it biology. Hold two paradoxical ideas at once. First, this force is impossibly powerful. It is roughly 10 quintillion times more potent than gravity. That figure is a mental ghost. It means nothing to us. Let me rephrase. If you and a friend each possessed a mere 1% surplus of electrons, the repelling force would be strong enough to launch the entire planet into the void. Second, you feel absolutely nothing. Why? Because within you, the positive and negative counts are matched with breathtaking accuracy. These titanic energies negate one another, leaving behind only a tiny lingering residue. That residue is gravity, the weak force pinning you to your seat. The perceived hardness of our world is actually a silent, perfect stalemate between monstrous powers. This equilibrium explains why ancient scholars only recognized two electrical oddities, that rubbed amber could lift hair and certain stones could pull iron. They were touching the fundamental glue of existence without realizing it. The symmetry was too flawless to detect. Now the mystery deepens. Electricity possesses a hidden twin, magnetism. They look distinct. One powers your phone, the other sticks to your fridge, but they are two sides of one coin. When electrons march through a circuit, they generate a looping magnetic field around the path. Place a compass near a wire and watch the needle dance. Coil that wire and the field grows. Loop it around iron and you have a magnet you can toggle with a switch. And the physics works both ways. Spin a magnet near a wire and you force electrons to move. No chemical cell required. Pure motion translates to power. This is induction. It is the engine of our civilization. At every plant, falling water or rising steam rotates a massive magnet inside a copper cage. That rotation is converted through this bridge between motion and charge into the current that travels miles to your desk. The kinetic energy of a mountain stream becomes the glow by which you study. It is a magnificent alchemy. This marriage of forces, defined by James Maxwell in the 19th century, revealed an even staggering reality. Maxwell proved that a shifting electric field births a magnetic one, and vice versa. They can leapfrog through the void, sustaining themselves indefinitely. When Maxwell calculated the speed of this self-feeding wave, the result was precisely the speed of light. The truth was undeniable. Light itself is an electromagnetic ripple. The heat from a stove, the glow of your monitor, the X-ray scanning your bones, all are the same energy vibrating at different speeds. We swim in an electromagnetic sea, sensing only a tiny sliver of its infinite waves. Let that reality sink in. You have never actually touched a single object, not once. When your fingers press a table, the electrons in your skin get close to the electrons in the wood. Both carry a negative charge. They push back. That repulsive wall acting across a microscopic gap of nothingness is what your brain interprets as solid. Matter feels firm, not because atoms are hard, but because the electrical shields around them are stubborn. You are suspended by a flawless, eternal electrical debate between your feet and the ground. We are ghosts held aloft by the invisible arguments of atoms. Even the terrifying heat of a nuclear blast is at its core an electrical release. Inside a heavy nucleus, nearly 100 protons are jammed together. Their mutual hatred is immense, held back only by the nuclear glue. When that nucleus cracks, the leash is cut. The fragments scream away from each other with the full stored electrical rage that was being muffled. An atomic explosion is just the sudden, violent victory of the electromagnetic force. So we have mapped this power. We can calculate its habits, harness its strength, and build cities upon its back. We can describe the how with incredible precision. But the how is only half the story. The why remains a ghost. What is charge? Why does this law of attraction even exist? We don't know. We've identified a pattern, a gorgeous universal tapestry, and given it a label. And that is the ultimate lesson. Physics doesn't provide the ultimate purpose. It reveals the profound mechanics. It shows us the geometry of the natural world. Electricity is the primary architecture of that world. It is the framework of attraction that organizes atoms, binds chemistry, fuels life, and grants the universe its solid form. We have learned to play the music, but the origin of the sound is still a magnificent secret. The cosmos isn't required to make sense to us. Yet here we are, having decoded enough of this invisible riot to light up the dark and power our futures. The mystery isn't a wall. It's a doorway, a reminder that the greatest discoveries are still waiting for someone like you to ask why. If you enjoyed this journey through the unseen, please hit like and let us know your thoughts here at Hard Science Theory. Your curiosity is the current that drives us forward to explore these vast landscapes of knowledge. We live in a world defined by what we cannot see, yet we feel the effects of these titanic forces every moment of our existence. From the spark of a thought in your mind to the massive energy of a distant star, the electrical force is the common thread that weaves the fabric of reality into a coherent whole. As we look toward the future, the questions we ask today will become the foundations of tomorrow's breakthroughs. We are standing on the shoulders of giants like Feynman and Maxwell, yet the horizon of what we don't know remains as vast as ever. Every electron that drifts through a conductor and every magnetic field that guides a compass is a testament to the elegant complexity of our universe. We are not just observers of this electrical world, we are an integral part of it, living expressions of the very laws we strive to understand. The next time you flip a light switch or feel the warmth of the sun, remember the silent riot of electrons and the incredible balance of forces that make that moment possible. It is a story of attraction, repulsion, and a persistent search for equilibrium that began at the dawn of time and continues in every atom of your being. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Stay curious, keep questioning, and never stop looking for the beauty in the patterns of nature. The universe is a grand invitation to discover, and the most electrifying chapters have yet to be written. We are all part of this magnificent, ongoing experiment called existence, where the laws of physics meet the wonder of the human spirit. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the mysteries that surround us. This is the essence of discovery, the drive to see the world not just as it appears, but as it truly is, a masterpiece of unseen forces and infinite possibilities. Goodbye for now from Hard Science Theory, where we turn the complex into the captivating. Your support helps us continue this mission of bringing the wonders of science to life. Remember to share this journey with others who share your passion for the great why behind everything we see. Together, we can illuminate the darkest corners of our understanding and find the light in the most fundamental mysteries of the cosmos. It's a journey that never truly ends.